library.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Welcome to the inner circle of those who understand that true power is never loud. If you are listening to this, you have already separated yourself from the masses who live life in a perpetual state of reaction. You are here because you have an appetite for something greater than average existence. You want the wealth, the influence, and the legacy. But here is the truth that most mentors will never tell you. You cannot build a billion-dollar empire on a 10-cent emotional foundation. The world is a chaotic marketplace of distractions, opinions, and provocations. Most people spend their lives being pulled left and right by the whims of others. They are like dry leaves in a storm, at the mercy of every gust of wind. But a leader, a true architect of their destiny, is the storm itself. To never be bothered by anyone is not a personality trait, it is a strategic advantage. It is the ultimate flex of the modern age. Think about the currency of your life. We talk about dollars, euros, and assets, but the most valuable currency you possess is your attention. Every time you allow someone to make you angry, you are handing them a blank check signed with your life force. You are literally paying them to occupy space in your head. When you realize that your anger is a cost, you start to become very frugal with who you give it to. High-level success requires an almost obsessive level of focus. If you are busy rehearsing an argument in your head with someone who slighted you this morning, you are not focused on the deal, the vision, or the growth. You are effectively bankrupting your potential for the sake of your ego. Let's look at the psychology of the elite. When you observe a true master of industry or a leader of nations, you notice a specific kind of stillness. This isn't the stillness of someone who is bored, it is the stillness of someone who is in total control of the room because they are in total control of themselves. They have realized that the behavior of others is merely data. It is information about the other person's character, insecurities, and limitations. It has nothing to do with you. When someone insults you or tries to undermine your progress, they are revealing their own internal map of the world. Why would you be bothered by someone else's broken map? If a blind man tells you the sky is green, you don't get angry. You don't stand there for an hour trying to convince him he's wrong. You feel a momentary sense of pity, or perhaps you just acknowledge the fact, and then you move on. Most people are emotionally blind. They are reacting to their own traumas, their own failures, and their own fears. When they lash out at you, they are simply projecting their internal noise onto the canvas of your life. To be a sovereign mind is to refuse to be that canvas. You must build a filter so strong that only what is useful can pass through it. I want you to imagine your mind as a high-security vault. Inside this vault are your dreams, your strategies, your peace, and your drive. Most people leave the door to their vault wide open. They let any passerby walk in and spray paint the walls with their negativity. They let the news, the social media trolls, and the toxic colleagues dump trash on their floor. A millionaire mind treats the vault with the respect it deserves. You are the sole gatekeeper. You decide what enters and what stays outside. This doesn't mean you become cold or unfeeling. On the contrary, by protecting your internal state, you have more energy to be compassionate, more energy to be creative, and more energy to lead. You are not suppressing your emotions, you are curating them. You are deciding that your peace is more important than your need to be right. This is where most people fail. Their ego demands a defense. Their ego wants to fight back, to prove a point, to win the exchange. But in the world of high-level achievement, the only way to win a petty exchange is to refuse to participate in it. Silence is the highest form of contempt. It signals that the other person's input is so insignificant that it doesn't even warrant a ripple in your consciousness. Consider the concept of the internal throne. Every day you wake up and you sit on the throne of your own kingdom. From this seat, you direct your resources and your people. But as soon as you let someone's external behavior dictate your internal mood, you have abdicated that throne. You have handed your crown to a stranger and asked them to rule you for a while. Think about how absurd that is. You would never give someone your bank login or the keys to your home, yet you give them the keys to your happiness and your focus without a second thought. To be unshakable, you must reclaim that crown. You must realize that no one can make you feel anything without your active cooperation. If someone calls you a name and you get angry, you have agreed with them on some level. You have validated their power over you. If you simply observe the comment as a sound wave hitting your ear and then disappearing into the void, they have failed. Their weapon has found no target. This is the secret of the Stoic leaders who built empires that lasted centuries. They understood that the world is a mirror. If you are bothered by what you see in the mirror, you don't break the glass, you change the person standing in front of it. This chapter is your invitation to step into a higher frequency. It is the foundation of everything we will discuss. Before we can talk about strategy, wealth, or influence, we must secure the perimeter of your mind. You need to start seeing every provocation as a training session. When someone is rude to you today, I want you to smile internally. They are giving you a free opportunity to practice your sovereignty. They are the weight you are lifting to build your mental muscles. The heavier the provocation, the better the workout. You are becoming a person who is immune to the pettiness of the world. This immunity is your greatest asset. It allows you to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. It allows you to think clearly when the market is crashing. It allows you to stay focused on the long-term vision while others are distracted by short-term insults. You are building an internal wealth that no one can tax and no one can steal. This is the first step of the mentor's path. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the master of your internal environment. You are becoming the kind of person who moves through the world with such certainty and such poise that people naturally want to follow you, not because you forced them, but because you are the only one who isn't shaking.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Chapter 2. The Art of Intellectual Detachment. Welcome to the second level of your evolution. In our first session, we secured the perimeter of your mental fortress. You now understand that your energy is a currency and that getting angry is a bad investment. But to truly master the art of being unshakable, we must go deeper into the mechanics of how you process the world. We must discuss the elite skill of intellectual detachment. Most people are fused with their environment. They see an event and they immediately attach a feeling to it. They see a red candle on a stock chart and they feel fear. They see a critical email and they feel defensive. They are like a mirror that reflects everything perfectly but possesses nothing of its own. To be a mentor, a leader, and a creator of wealth, you must learn to put a gap between the event and the emotion. You must become an observer of your own life, watching the drama unfold from a balcony rather than being a frantic actor on the stage. Intellectual detachment is the ability to see things exactly as they are, without the distortion of your personal preferences or your ego. Think of a high-stakes surgeon. If they let their emotions take over during a difficult operation, the patient dies. They must remain detached to be effective. The same applies to your path to success. The moment you become emotionally attached to a specific outcome or a specific person's opinion, you lose your edge. You start making decisions based on how you want the world to be, rather than how it actually is. This is a fatal flaw in business and in life. The market doesn't care about your feelings. Your competitors don't care about your feelings. The universe is indifferent to your comfort. When you accept this, you stop being bothered by reality. You stop arguing with the weather and start building better umbrellas. I want you to imagine every person you meet as a character in a complex simulation. When someone cuts you off or lies to you or fails to meet your expectations, they are simply acting out their programming. If you get angry at a dog for barking, you are the one who is confused. The dog is just being a dog. If you get angry at a toxic person for being toxic, you are the one who is failing the intelligence test. They are simply following their nature. Intellectual detachment allows you to analyze people as if they were weather patterns or biological specimens. You observe their behavior, you categorize it, and you adjust your strategy accordingly. There is no room for anger in this process, because anger requires you to take their behavior personally. And as you are beginning to realize, nothing anyone does is ever really about you. It is always a reflection of their own internal struggle, their own limitations, and their own level of consciousness. When you practice detachment, you gain a superpower, the power of the pause. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. In that space lies your freedom. The average person has a space of about a millisecond. Someone yells, they yell back. Someone insults them, they feel hurt. They are reactive machines. But a leader expands that space. When someone tries to provoke you, you step into that gap. You watch the provocation sail past you. You analyze it. You ask yourself, is this information useful? Does this person have the authority to judge me? Does responding to this move me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, you let it go. You don't suppress the anger, you simply don't invite it in. You recognize that the anger is a chemical reaction that your body wants to have, and you choose not to let that chemical override your executive function. This is where the money is made. In the boardroom, the person who stays calm while everyone else is losing their heads is the one who ends up with the leverage. Why? Because the person who is detached sees the move that no one else sees. They aren't blinded by pride or the need to save face. They are looking at the chessboard with cold, calculated precision. They are willing to lose a pawn to win the game. If you are too attached to your ego, you will fight for every pawn and lose the king. You must learn to treat your ego like a piece of clothing that you can take off when it gets in the way. Most people's egos are fused to their skin. They can't tell where they end and their pride begins. But you, as an ambitious seeker of excellence, must learn to be the person who can stand naked in the face of criticism and feel absolutely nothing, because your value is not derived from the external world. I often tell my protégés that their life is a laboratory. Every interaction is an experiment. If an experiment fails, you don't get angry at the chemicals. You look at the data, you adjust the variables, and you try again. This mindset removes the sting from failure and the poison from betrayal. If a business partner betrays you, that is simply data. It tells you that your vetting process needs work, or that your incentives were misaligned. If a romantic partner leaves you, that is data. It tells you about compatibility and the shifting nature of human desires. When you are detached, you are never a victim. You are always a student. And a student is never bothered because every lesson, no matter how painful, is an asset for the future. This level of mental discipline is what separates the millionaires from the billionaires and the followers from the icons. It is a quiet, internal revolution. You don't need to tell anyone you are doing this. In fact, it is better if they don't know. Let them think they can rattle you. Let them try. While they are exhausting themselves trying to find a crack in your armor, you are calmly building your empire, brick by brick, unmoved by their noise. You are becoming a ghost in their machine. They can't predict you, because they can't provoke you. They can't control you because they have nothing to hold on to. You have removed the hooks that the world uses to pull people around. As you go through your day today, I want you to practice being the observer. When you feel that familiar rise of heat in your chest or that tightness in your jaw, stop. Breathe into that space we talked about. Look at the situation as if you were a consultant hired to solve a problem. What is the most efficient move right now? Does anger serve the bottom line? Usually, the most efficient move is a calm, direct statement or total silence. By choosing the efficient path over the emotional path, you are reinforcing your status as a leader. You are showing yourself that you are the one in charge of the cockpit. You are the pilot, not the passenger. This is the art of intellectual detachment. It is the cold clarity of the elite. Master this, and you will not only be unshakable, you will be unstoppable. The world belongs to those who can see it clearly. Welcome to the third pillar of your psychological liberation. If you have mastered the economy of your energy and the art of intellectual detachment, you are already operating at a level far above the average person. But now we must address the most subtle and dangerous addiction that keeps high achievers small. It is the invisible leash that the world uses to pull you back into the crowd just as you are starting to break away. I am talking about the desperate, often unconscious need for external validation. To never be bothered by anyone, you must first become immune to their praise. This sounds counterintuitive to the ambitious mind. We are taught from childhood to chase the gold star, the high grade, the promotion, and the applause. We are conditioned to look at the faces of others to see if we are doing a good job. But if you rely on the world to tell you that you are great, you have also given the world the power to tell you that you are worthless. You have placed the deed to your self-worth in a drawer that someone else holds the key to. A Stoic leader knows that the only appraisal that matters is the one conducted in the mirror at the end of the day. External validation is a drug with a very short half-life. You win the award, you get the shout-out, you hit the follower milestone, and for a moment you feel a rush of dopamine. You feel seen, you feel justified. But by the next morning, the effect has faded and you are back on the treadmill, performing for an audience that has already moved on to the next distraction. This is a losing game. It is a form of emotional slavery. If you are bothered when someone criticizes you, it is usually because you were too excited when they complimented you. Both are two sides of the same coin. Both are based on the false belief that other people have the right or the capacity to define who you are. The truth of the millionaire mentor is that the crowd is fickle. The same people who cheer for you today will be the first to throw stones tomorrow if the wind changes. If you build your house on the shifting sands of public opinion, you are inviting a collapse. You must build on the bedrock of your own standards. I want you to audit your motivations. Why do you want the luxury car? Why do you want the high-level title? Is it because you genuinely value the engineering and the responsibility? Or is it because you want to see the look of envy in the eyes of people you don't even like? Much of what we call ambition is actually just a sophisticated cry for attention. When you realize this, it can be painful, but it is the beginning of true wealth. True wealth is the ability to do what you want, when you want, without needing to post a picture of it to prove it happened. When you stop performing for the gallery, you find a level of focus that is terrifying to your competitors. You are no longer wasting bandwidth, wondering what the neighbors or the industry peers think. You are only interested in the objective quality of your work and the integrity of your process. This is the difference between a celebrity and an icon. A celebrity needs the spotlight to exist. An icon is a source of light themselves. The myth of validation suggests that if you just get enough people to agree that you are successful, then you will finally feel successful. But it doesn't work that way. Success is an internal state of alignment. It is the knowledge that you have set a high standard for yourself and that you have met it. When you are bothered by someone's opinion, it is often because they have touched a nerve of insecurity that you haven't healed yet. If you were truly certain of your path, their words would have no more impact than a fly hitting a windshield. You wouldn't be angry, you would be indifferent. Think about a professional athlete. If a fan in the stands screams that the athlete is terrible at the game, does the athlete stop playing to argue? No. The athlete knows their stats, they know their training, and they know the scoreboard. The opinion of the spectator is irrelevant because the spectator isn't on the court. Most people in your life are spectators. They are commenting on a game they aren't even playing. Why would you give their commentary any weight? To reach this state of immunity, you must develop a private code of ethics and excellence. This code is your highest authority. If you violate your code, you should feel the weight of it, even if the whole world is praising you. If you honor your code, you should feel invincible, even if the whole world is mocking you. This is the source of that unshakable confidence you see in the world's most powerful leaders. It isn't arrogance, it is self-contained certainty. They have done the math. They have weighed their own soul. They don't need your vote of confidence because they have already cast their own. When you operate from this position, you become a magnet for respect. Ironically, the less you care about being liked, the more people tend to admire you. People are drawn to those who are centered in their own reality. By not seeking their validation, you demonstrate that you have something they lack: self-sovereignty. I want you to start practicing the art of the invisible win. Do something great and tell no one. Achieve a goal and keep it to yourself for a week. Experience the satisfaction of your own approval without the dilution of social media likes. This builds a reservoir of internal power. It reminds you that the value is in the doing, not in the showing. When you are no longer hungry for the breadcrumbs of other people's praise, you will find that you are also no longer vulnerable to their insults. You become a ghost to their judgment. They can scream at you, they can try to shame you, they can try to belittle your achievements, but it won't land. You have removed the receptor sites for their poison. You are playing a different game on a different field. This is the freedom of the mentor. This is the clarity of the millionaire. You are the only judge in the courtroom of your life. Every other voice is just background noise, as meaningless as the hum of an air conditioner. You hear it, but you don't listen to it. You stay focused on the work. You stay focused on the mission. You stay focused on the man or woman you are becoming in the silence of your own discipline. This is how you become untouchable. This is how you win before the battle even begins.
Chapter 4: The Illusion of Control and the Strategy of Acceptance. We have built the fortress, and we have silenced the need for the crowd to cheer at our gates. Now we must address the most common trap that catches even the most seasoned leaders: the obsession with controlling the uncontrollable. Most of your anger and most of your frustration in life comes from a single cognitive error. You are trying to exert your will over things that do not belong to you. You are trying to command the wind to stop blowing or the rain to stop falling, and when it doesn't listen, you feel personally insulted. This is the hallmark of the amateur mind. A millionaire mentor understands that the world is divided into two very distinct categories: the internal variables you own and the external variables you simply observe. If you want to never be bothered by anyone again, you must stop trying to manage their behavior and start managing your expectations. In business and in high-level negotiation, we talk about leverage. But the ultimate leverage is being the only person in the room who has accepted reality exactly as it is. Most people are fighting reality. They are saying it shouldn't be this way. He shouldn't have said that. The market shouldn't have dropped. While they are busy arguing with what has already happened, the Stoic leader is already calculating the next move. Acceptance is not weakness. It is the highest form of pragmatism. It is the recognition that getting angry at an unchangeable fact is like getting angry at a rock for being hard. It is a waste of metabolic energy that could be used for innovation. You have a finite amount of cognitive bandwidth every day. If you spend 40% of it being frustrated by the incompetence of a vendor or the betrayal of a competitor, you have 40% less power to apply to your vision. You are literally sabotaging your own success to indulge a feeling that changes nothing. I want you to imagine a professional poker player. Does he get angry when the dealer gives him a bad hand? Does he scream at the cards? No. He understands that he does not control the deck. He only controls how he bets. He plays the hand he is dealt with maximum efficiency. This is how you must approach your life. Other people's actions are just cards being dealt to you. Some days the world gives you aces. Some days it gives you nothing. The amateur gets emotional about the cards. The professional stays focused on the strategy. When you stop expecting people to be honest, kind, or competent, you take away their power to surprise you. You shift from a state of shock to a state of preparation. If you know a certain person is prone to lying, why would you be bothered when they lie? You should be bothered if they suddenly started telling the truth, because that would mean your data is wrong. When you accept people as they are, rather than how you wish they were, you become impossible to rattle. The illusion of control is a heavy burden that keeps you stressed and reactive. You feel that if you just worry enough, or yell enough, or micromanage enough, you can force the world to align with your desires. But the world is too big and too complex for your ego to handle. The elite mind travels light. It drops the weight of responsibility for things outside its jurisdiction. You are responsible for your effort, your word, your preparation, and your reaction. You are not responsible for the outcome, the weather, the economy, or the opinions of others. When you draw this line in the sand, a profound sense of peace settles over you. It is the peace of the predator who knows exactly when to strike and when to wait. You are no longer chasing the world. You are letting the world come to you, and you are dealing with it on your terms. Think about the most stressful moment you've had this week. Someone did something that bothered you. In that moment, you were attached to a specific version of how that person should behave. You were trying to be the director of a play where the actors haven't read your script. To never be bothered, you must fire yourself from the role of director. Let the actors ad-lib. Let the scene go off script. Your only job is to stay in character as the unshakable lead. When you stop demanding that the world cooperate with your preferences, you find that you have an incredible amount of energy left over. This is the founder's edge. While your rivals are exhausted from trying to force the market or force their staff through intimidation and emotional outbursts, you are calm, collected, and incredibly fast. Speed comes from clarity, and clarity comes from acceptance. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. On the contrary, acceptance allows you to take more effective action. If a pipe bursts in your house, you don't sit there crying about how unfair it is. You accept the reality that there is water on the floor, and you turn off the main valve. You act without the baggage of why me. High-level leadership is simply a series of pipes bursting on a global scale. The bigger the business, the more things will go wrong. If you haven't mastered the strategy of acceptance, a large-scale success will actually destroy your health and your happiness because you will be trying to control 1,000 variables at once. You must learn to sit in the middle of the fire and feel the heat without complaining about the flames. This is the secret of the millionaires who seem to have it all together despite the pressure. They haven't found a way to stop the pressure. They've just stopped resisting it. I want you to start using a mental filter for every problem that comes your way today. Ask yourself, is this in my control? If the answer is no, then it is officially none of your business. It is a weather event.
You don't get angry at the rain, you just grab an umbrella or stay inside. Treat human behavior the same way. If someone is being difficult, that is their weather. You can choose to navigate around them, or you can choose to work with them, but you do not choose to be bothered by them. By releasing the need to control others, you gain the ultimate control over yourself. You become the master of your own internal climate. No matter what is happening in the streets, it is always a beautiful day inside your mind. This is the sanctuary of the successful. This is the laboratory where empires are designed. You are no longer fighting the flow of life. You are swimming with it, using its own momentum to propel you towards your goals. This is the path of least resistance and greatest power. Control the controllable and let the rest of the world worry about the rest.
Chapter 5. The Alchemy of Perspective and the Power of Reframe. In our previous sessions, we have fortified your mind, detached from the crowd, and accepted the nature of reality. But now, I want to give you the most aggressive tool in the mentor's arsenal. This is the skill of alchemy. In the ancient world, alchemists tried to turn lead into gold. In the world of elite achievement, we turn obstacles into fuel. To never be bothered by anyone is not just about ignoring them, it is about reaching a level of psychological sophistication where you can take a negative event and literally harvest it for your own growth. When you master the reframe, no one can do anything to you, because you are the one who decides what their actions mean. You are the sole narrator of your story, and in your story, everything that happens is a gift if you know how to wrap it. Most people are victims of their own vocabulary. They use words like disaster, betrayal, or insult. These words carry a heavy emotional charge that dictates how they feel. A millionaire mind uses different language. We don't see problems, we see puzzles. We don't see insults, we see feedback. We don't see setbacks, we see pivots. Think about the power of that shift. If someone tries to sabotage your project, the average person feels victimized and angry. The Stoic leader reframes it as a stress test for their system. You look at the situation and say, "Thank you for showing me the vulnerability in my structure before it became even more expensive." You have taken their malice and turned it into a free security audit. They intended to hurt you, but they ended up making you stronger. Who's the winner in that exchange? The secret of the unshakable leader is the realization that no event has an inherent meaning. The world is just a series of objective occurrences. A person says a sentence, a transaction fails to close, a partner walks away. These are just facts. The meaning, the part that makes you feel bothered or angry, is something you add to the fact afterward. It is a layer of paint you put on the canvas. If you paint it with the colors of resentment, you will suffer. If you paint it with the colors of opportunity, you will prosper. You must become the master of the narrative. When someone is rude to you, you can choose to see it as an attack on your dignity, or you can see it as a fascinating display of their own lack of self-control. One makes you small and reactive, the other makes you curious and superior. Curiosity is the death of anger. You cannot be truly curious and truly angry at the same time. I want you to think about the concept of the resistance. In the gym, you need resistance to build muscle. Without the weight pushing against you, there is no growth. The same is true for your character and your leadership. The difficult people in your life are your resistance. They are the heavy plates you need to lift to become a titan. If everyone was kind, honest, and efficient, you would be weak. You would have no mental calluses. You would be a soft person in a hard world. Therefore, the person who bothers you is actually doing you a favor. They are providing the friction necessary for you to sharpen your edge. When you see it this way, anger becomes impossible.
You don't get angry at the dumbbell for being heavy. You appreciate the weight because it is the source of your strength. This is how the elite operate. We don't pray for an easy life. We pray for the strength to endure a difficult one and the wisdom to use every bit of it to our advantage. This alchemy requires a total abandonment of the victim identity. You must realize that you are the primary cause of your own experience. If you are bothered, it is because you have decided to be bothered. It is a choice you are making, often out of habit. To break this habit, you must interrupt the pattern. The next time someone tries to pull you into their drama, I want you to ask yourself, how can I use this? Maybe this person's behavior is showing you that you need to set better boundaries. Maybe their criticism contains a 1% grain of truth that you can use to improve your product. Maybe their betrayal is the universe's way of clearing space for a better partner. There is always a way to win if you are willing to reframe the loss. This is why you cannot lose. Even when you lose, you gain the data, the discipline, and the resilience. Imagine the freedom of living a life where no one can touch your joy because you have converted every potential negative into a positive. You are like a furnace that can burn any kind of fuel. High-quality wood? Great, the fire grows. Trash and waste? Even better. The furnace consumes it and turns it into heat. Most people are like delicate candles that can be blown out by a slight breeze. You are becoming a forest fire. The wind that blows out the candle only makes the forest fire roar louder. This is the ultimate Stoic secret. You don't just endure the bother, you consume it. You use the adrenaline of the conflict to fuel your work. You use the silence after an insult to deepen your meditation. You use the rejection to fuel your next cold call. You are playing a game where every move your opponent makes inadvertently helps you. This is the level of mastery that commands millions and leads thousands. People are drawn to those who are unfazed by adversity. They want to be around the person who looks at a crisis and sees a chance to redefine the market. In your personal life, this makes you a magnetic force. When your friends, family, or partners see that they cannot rattle you, that you simply pivot and find the value in every situation, they stop trying to bring you down. They start trying to rise to your level. You set the thermostat for your environment. You don't react to the temperature, you change it. This is the alchemy of perspective. It is the ability to walk through a storm and see only the hydration for your garden. From this day forward, nothing is happening to you. Everything is happening for you. You are the alchemist. You are the mentor. You are the master of the reframe. And because of that, you are officially untouchable.
We have discussed the mind, the ego, and the art of the reframe. Now we must discuss your most potent weapon in the theater of human interaction: silence. In the world of high-level business and social influence, the person who speaks the most is rarely the one with the most power. To never be bothered by anyone, you must master the ability to say nothing. Most people are terrified of silence. They feel an evolutionary urge to fill the air, to defend themselves, to explain their actions, or to strike back when insulted. But when you react with words, you are entering the other person's arena. You are validating their provocation by giving it an answer. High-status silence is the ultimate wall. It is the physical manifestation of your internal fortress. Think about the psychology of an argument. When someone attacks you, they are throwing a hook, hoping to catch your emotions and pull you into a back and forth. If you respond with anger, you are caught. If you respond with a long explanation, you are caught. But if you respond with a calm, steady gaze and a deliberate silence, the hook has nowhere to land. The other person is left hanging in the air, forced to deal with the discomfort of their own aggression. Silence is a mirror. When you refuse to participate in the noise, the other person is forced to hear the echo of their own voice, and usually they don't like what they hear. This is how you win a conflict without ever raising your voice. You simply outlast their need for drama. In the boardroom or the negotiation table, silence is worth millions. The amateur is so bothered by the tension of a deal that they speak just to break the pressure, often giving away their leverage in the process. The mentor, the millionaire, the stoic leader, they have a high tolerance for tension. They can sit in a room for 30 seconds of pure silence after a question has been asked. They understand that the person who speaks first in that environment is often the one who is the most bothered. By remaining silent, you signal that you are comfortable in your own skin and that your internal state is not dependent on the approval or the comfort of those around you. This is a terrifying level of confidence to those who are still slaves to external validation. I want you to realize that every time you feel the urge to set the record straight or defend your honor against a petty comment, you are actually revealing a weakness. You are showing that the other person has the power to disturb your peace. Silence, on the other hand, communicates total indifference. And, as we have established, indifference is the highest form of power. When you are truly unbothered, you don't feel the need to win the argument because you have already won the game. You know the truth of your value, and that truth doesn't need to be shouted from the rooftops to be real. A lion doesn't turn around when a small dog barks. He doesn't bark back to prove he is a lion. He just keeps walking. The barking of the dog is irrelevant to the lion's identity. This silence also gives you the gift of time. When you don't react instantly, you give your prefrontal cortex, the logical, strategic part of your brain, time to analyze the situation. You are moving from a reactive reptilian brain state to an executive state. While the other person is acting on impulse, you are acting on intent. This delay is your competitive advantage. You can choose the most efficient response, or better yet, you can choose to provide no response at all. In many cases, no response is the most devastating reply you can give. It denies them the satisfaction of knowing they affected you. It denies them the satisfaction of knowing they affected you. Mastering this silence requires you to kill your ego. Your ego wants to be seen, to be right, and to be respected. Your ego hates it when someone says something untrue about you and you don't correct it. But your higher self, the mentor within, knows that the truth doesn't need a lawyer. The people who matter will see the truth through your results and your character. The people who don't matter aren't worth the breath it takes to correct them. By maintaining a high-status silence, you are preserving your dignity and your energy. You are staying on your throne while the peasants argue in the dirt. Today, I want you to experiment with the 3-second rule. Before you respond to any provocation, any criticism, or even any difficult question, wait 3 full seconds. Look the person in the eye, stay calm, observe the urge to speak, and then decide if speaking actually serves your long-term goals. You will find that in many cases, the need to speak evaporates once the initial emotional spike passes. You will find that people start to treat you with a new level of respect and even a bit of healthy fear. They realize that they can't read you, and they certainly can't rattle you. You have become a black hole for their negativity. It goes in and nothing comes back out. This is the silence of the sovereign. This is the quiet strength of the person who owns themselves. When you master your tongue, you master your life.
Chapter 7. The Legacy of the Unshakable Leader. You have reached the final stage of this transformation. We have moved from protecting your energy to mastering the art of detachment, acceptance, and the alchemical power of the reframe. You have learned that silence is your most potent weapon and that your internal throne is the only seat of power that truly matters. Now we must discuss how this new version of you moves through the world permanently. This is not a temporary shield you wear during a crisis. This is the skin you live in.
To never be bothered by anyone is the ultimate mark of the mature soul. It is the realization that you are no longer a child reacting to the world, but a creator shaping it. When you are truly unshakable, you don't just survive the chaos of life, you become the anchor for everyone else around you. The world is hungry for leaders who do not panic. Most people are looking for someone to tell them that the storm will pass, but they will only believe the person who isn't shaking. By mastering your emotions, you have inadvertently acquired a massive amount of social and professional influence. People will naturally gravitate toward your stillness. In a room full of shouting voices, the quietest person with the clearest eyes is the one who eventually takes command. This is the legacy of the Stoic mentor. You aren't just building a bank account, you are building a reputation as a person of absolute reliability and ironclad character. You have become the eye of the hurricane. While others are being swept away by the latest scandal, the latest market dip, or the latest personal drama, you remain fixed. This consistency is what builds empires. I want you to look back at the person you were before we started this journey. That person was easily manipulated. They were a victim of other people's bad moods and the world's unpredictability. They were tired because they were fighting battles that didn't matter. Look at yourself now. You are lighter. You are faster. You are more dangerous because you are more deliberate. You have realized that getting even is a peasant's game. The only real revenge is massive success and a life lived with total peace. When you are truly successful, the opinions of your detractors don't even reach your ears. They are shouting at the clouds while you are flying above them. This is the ultimate victory. It is not the destruction of your enemies, but the total irrelevance of them. As you close this book and step back into the arena of your life, remember that this is a daily practice. There will be days when the world throws something so heavy at you that you might feel a momentary flicker of anger or a shadow of a bother. That is fine. You are a human being, not a machine. But now you have the tools to catch it. You have the pause. You have the reframe. You have the silence. You don't have to stay in that emotional state for a second longer than you choose to. You are the architect. You are the one who decides how much a situation is worth. If it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes being bothered by it. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your heart in the fortress. Keep your mind on the mission. I want to congratulate you. Most people will never have the discipline to even listen to these words, let alone apply them. By doing this work, you have joined an elite lineage of thinkers and doers who have shaped history. You have chosen the path of sovereignty over the path of the victim. You have chosen wealth over ego. You have chosen peace over the need to be right. This is the foundation of everything you will build from here on out. Your money will grow because your focus is no longer fragmented. Your relationships will improve because you are no longer reactive. Your health will flourish because you have removed the poison of chronic stress. You are now the master of your own ship, and the sea, no matter how rough, has lost its power to sink you. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide through these chapters. It is my greatest honor to watch an ambitious mind reclaim its power. You have the blueprints. You have the tools. Now go out there and build something that the world cannot ignore. Stay calm, stay detached, stay sovereign. The world belongs to the unbothered. I believe in your vision. I believe in your discipline, and I look forward to seeing the empire you are about to create. Your journey doesn't end here. It truly begins now. Go forth with your head held high, your heart quiet, and your spirit untouchable. You are a leader. You are a titan. You are free. Bonus chapter: The Predator's Peace and the Art of Strategic Kindness. We have reached the hidden level of our journey. This is the bonus insight that separates the cold Stoic from the warm, charismatic leader. Up to this point, we have focused on building your armor and ensuring that no one can hurt you. But the final secret of the Millionaire mentor is not just being unbothered, it is the ability to use your inner peace as a tool of ultimate influence. Once you are truly secure in your fortress, you no longer need to be on the defensive. You can afford to be the most gracious, kind, and patient person in the room. This isn't the kindness of the weak who are nice because they are afraid. This is the strategic kindness of the predator who is so confident in their power that they have no need to growl. When you are no longer bothered by anyone, you gain the ability to see through people with startling clarity. You see their anger as fear. You see their arrogance as insecurity. You see their betrayal as a desperate attempt to feel significant. Because you see the why behind their behavior, you can react with a level of calm that borders on the supernatural. While others are reacting with fire, you react with water. You become the person who can look a screaming client or an aggressive competitor in the eye and speak with a voice so low and steady that it forces them to quiet down just to hear you. This is the predator's peace. It is the calm of a lion watching a house cat hiss. It is not an act. It is the natural byproduct of knowing that nothing they do can actually touch your net worth or your self-worth. This level of mastery allows you to move through the world as a ghost of high-value intent. You start to use your immunity to help others find theirs. You become a mentor not just by what you say, but by how you exist. When your team sees that you don't break under pressure, they stop breaking. When your family sees that you don't get drawn into petty squabbles, the dynamic of your home shifts. You have become the thermostat that regulates the entire building. This is where true wealth manifests, not just in your bank account, but in the quality of the environment you create around you. You have transformed from someone who is never bothered into someone who is actively stabilizing. I want you to take this final lesson with you. The ultimate flex is not showing people that you are better than them. It is showing them that they have no power to make you less than yourself. Every day is a performance in the theater of the elite. You are the star, the director, and the audience. When you walk out of your door tomorrow, I want you to carry this quiet, heavy peace with you. Let people wonder why you aren't stressed. Let them wonder why you aren't angry. Let them wonder how you stay so focused while the world is burning. Don't tell them, just show them. Let your results be the noise that replaces your words. You are now part of the 1% of the 1%. You are unshakable. You are sovereign. You are home. I am incredibly proud of the progress you have made through these 8 chapters. You have the mindset of a titan and the heart of a sage. Now step out into your kingdom and claim what is yours. The world is waiting for a leader like you. Go and build your legacy.